Going on forever. How you doing? Just give me a look. Give me a look. Nice guy. He's a Colorado. He's a good kid. So he's always offers stuff to me. He's a good kid. Okay, he's got his hands on this stuff. Yeah, he has every single tool. Like that. I hate to want to sometimes. He never was bad. Just be nuts. That was pretty random. She said last week, why don't you stay down?
Hey, Jessica. Hello. Yeah.
I gotta get
What's up, man?
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's the biggest 6-foot bulldozer you can get. And that's what you said at the time.
Is it military?
It's funny how that still sticks in my head.
Is it what?
Always was. I'll never forget it. Never forget it.
What are you gonna do with that?
What?
I used to
Good, man. How are you? No. Let me see if I can swing this around. How you doing? Let me see if I can swing this around.
Hey. 10:50
It's the on air, right?
But it's not going to Facebook Live, it's only going to
It's nice to get out. Tonight's on the cruise.
Yeah, that's it. It's just straight blue.
What, is it something that he, that
This one's got a
the
6
page, you think?
What are you doing? What's the problem?
So if it's how I always do it?
Okay, would a power outage have done that? Okay. Can somebody sometime tomorrow?
This is recorded, minutes.
East Side Village Hall, Greg Kathleen, she'll come up and you can serve them. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially you do right now.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, that's easy now, don't worry, we go ahead, we'll go immediately to the quick fix.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, no, that'll work.
We can't even information.
No, no.
Yeah, we used to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we get a tape of it and they put it on the internet.
Yeah, Mike won.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
And then this
But I thought they were expecting you.
And if you don't stream TV from anywhere, that's where you can put it in
No, there's one, there's a power line.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
all it is was before.
Yeah, what's the deal?
In, like, in location. I don't think
Ask them what the name of the app was.
the name of the app is the Facebook.
I know so many people here. That's because they closed it. Yeah.
It's for the street.
Throw rocks on them and do it all
They can't because they want to see you first.
Throw rocks on
Okay.
Oh, that's all, no, it's just thing.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
It took me a second.
Well, no, that's, this thing is still,
I don't deal with that.
this guy's.
That's part of the input. Yeah, that's it was standard for like the oil thing.
I just want to know.
Good, yeah. All right, thanks a lot. Sounds good, thanks.
Still to it, like it's going back.
What's that?
Do you want me to come get yours because you haven't filled it up yet? That way. Here.
This is turning this one for a kid.
Yeah.
This thing is under
I got it.
All
I'm
right.
gonna kill this thing a lot of fear, right?
I'm actually gonna, wait, hold on. All right. All right, let's say. We have those buttons right across
Which one?
for the AJ.
It's on air.
Yeah.
Stream on air. Light
Yeah, it's still
on.
not showing on, is it showing on there?
This is YouTube. This might be an old one.
Yeah, it's not showing on there.
Like that whole big circle that you do in there.
Doesn't help, I'm gonna tell you to unplug it, wait
All right,
15
let's-
seconds.
I'm over
and
it.
put it back in.
Go on.
Reboot.
We'll just talk
Still
loud.
got it.
We'll just talk
I'll
loud.
figure it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 7:41. Calling the meeting to order at 7:42.
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Clifford?
Here.
Trustee Howey?
Yep.
Trustee Chow?
Here.
Trustee Cellier?
Here.
Attorney Buckeye?
Here.
Mayor Buckley?
Here.
All here.
Thank you. Announcements. Labor Day weekend fireworks. Our county executive, Steve Newhouse, is kindly paying for fireworks on September 2nd down at the town beach. It'll be like the same thing we did for 4th of July. So go to the town beach and the fireworks will be directly in front of that. And that is September 2nd at 9:30. Immediately following the band is Ladies of the 80s, I believe. So they'll play, they'll finish at 9:30ish. They'll play a couple songs to the fireworks and then that'll be it. So we could have 3,000 people in town, we could have 10,000, we don't know yet, we'll see. But we're looking forward to it, and we want to thank the county executive for thinking of us and doing that. Fed race, September 9th. The flyer is out, everybody started registering, so we're getting a lot of phone calls about it, so it looks like it's gonna be a good day for that. And that is September 9th at high noon, the parade will start down Windermere Avenue. The race itself will start at Elks Drive and go back up towards Murphy's and end at Murphy's. The race beds themselves will be 2 identical beds, the same, provided for the race, and two beds will race at one time with a stopwatch, and the best time will get a trophy for fastest time, and there will be trophies and prizes for best decorated bed, and I think funniest was the other category we came up with?
There's 5 categories.
3 categories, so there'll be prizes for the decorated bed. Correspondence. Lions Club of Greenwood Lake.
Lions Club sent a letter thanking the village board for allowing them use of their meeting space at the senior center. Before that, they, since their inception, they had like a nomadic thing on where they were going to hold their meetings, and now they have a permanent place. So they sent a letter thanking the village for allowing them to have a permanent place at the senior center to hold their meetings. Second letter was from the Centennial Committee, talking about the Centennial Float Parade and asking for everybody to put floats in. And the last one was from Orange County Clerk Kelly Eskew in regards to Ford Alert. There's a SKU number here, we'll have it at Village Hall if anybody wants to use it. This is just a tool to protect yourself. There's been times where people are taking over other people's houses when they're not. Say if you go away for a little while and you're not there, people are going in and able to take over your house and change it over to their name, and then you're kind of out of it. So by signing up for this, it alerts them to letting them know that somebody's trying to take over your assets. So we'll have that available at Village Hall if anybody would like to sign up for that. And those are the 3 letters.
Great, thank you very much. Visiting elected officials. I know we have our own Boy D'Angelo.
Yes,
Anybody else?
I don't have anything tonight, but I have to leave because my alarm in my house is going off.
All right. Good luck with that. Thank you. Anybody else? Elected officials? No? Reports of boards and department heads. We're going to start with Parks. Eddie, please.
Okay,
You're up.
I'm sorry.
And can you come up here so we can get it on recording, please?
Yeah, sure.
Something's really working. Project to the left.
No, check you. No major projects, we really talk about routine maintenance, lawns, trimming, ornamental grasses, of course, beaches being maintained, flowers throughout the village, the beach. We did order a new front door for the police department. I believe that's in. And actually, Eric Keller's volunteering to install the door. Thank you. New fence is being installed at Pecan Drive, Victory Acres. As we speak, it'll be done hopefully tomorrow. We're gearing up for the infield for fall ball. It should be delivered in a week or two.
Yeah.
And just been mowing and trimming West Stanley Park in the farmer's market area.
And we just do the fireworks thing, so. Sorry about that.
Fireworks?
Fireworks, yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't do that yet, so we'll put that next time.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
I'd like to add that Ed and his crew, John, have maintained the beach beautifully. We get nothing but compliments down there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Yes, thank you very much.
John.
Robert TBW, please.
We're busy, getting ready to pave, should be in another 2 weeks, as soon as they finish in Warwick, they'll be over here.
Well, do you know where they're starting exactly? Here?
There's not exactly,
All
they've been
right.
delayed a little bit with the rain and stuff, with the other jobs they were on, but they're in Warwick now, and as soon as they get done there, we'll be over here.
Perfect. Thank you.
So September, you're thinking?
About 2 weeks.
Okay.
It'll be within about 2 weeks, depends on.
I do believe they're doing 10 acre, correct?
Hmm?
Right. 10 acre. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. Guess it's only other way to work.
Police department, please.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right, so I'm here for Chief Adam Myron tonight. The Village of Greenwood Lake PD handled 972 complaints in the month of July, as well as completed 11 arrests, issued 101 traffic summonses, 1 parking summons, and handled 7 motor vehicle accidents. Also, as we're preparing for accreditation from New York State, we also went along and painted the station. So if you guys get a chance to look at, hopefully just the lobby, we did change the color, and we're trying to change a lot, make it look a lot newer, as it hasn't been updated in a while. Big thanks to Sergeant Jones, Sergeant Gaylor, and Dispatcher Sweatsheet, who put in a lot of time, even when they weren't working.
Thank you.
All right?
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Water department, Phil, please.
Good evening, everyone. For the months of July and August, we're pleased to report that our 2 wells are easily meeting the summer demands for water. But the treatment plant is having some issues. First, the number 2 filter unit is having performance issues and has been taken offline. The symptoms are indicating a plumbing manifold issue on the bottom of the bed. The number 1 unit is providing adequate filtration, but along with the necessity of having a backup filter, we ideally prefer running 2 beds in tandem to provide the best water quality. We'll be meeting with our engineers tomorrow to make arrangements with a contractor to have the media sucked out, make the necessary repairs, and repack the bed to factory specifications. Even though the media still seems to be doing its job, it does have 15 years of runtime, which is right in the time frame for recommended replacement. Secondly, summer temperatures have TOCs, total organic carbon, up. The problem with TOCs is that they react with chlorine out in the system and produce disinfection byproducts. We are still well within health department compliance, but a distribution system flush is the best means of getting rid of any potential disinfection byproducts. They usually show up first in the outer reaches of the system where TOC chlorine contact time is the longest. And until the issues are resolved in the number 2 filter, we can't make enough water in the time necessary to recover quickly enough to get a thorough flush of the system done in a few days. As I mentioned earlier in the report here, that we will be meeting with our engineers tomorrow to address and discuss these issues in finer detail, along with the ongoing projects like the backup generator, the VFD project in Lake Lanes, along with the green sand pilot study and the solar system at the plant.
See you tomorrow at 10 meeting. Thank you, Phil.
Yes, I sent it to.
I got it. I'll forward it to you then.
You
It
did?
was like.
Okay, I just
Oh,
need,
you got it.
it's easier to cut and paste it. Thank you.
Commission reports, we'll start off with trustee Clifford, please.
Thank you. On Saturday, I was honored to attend the Greenwood Lake Girl Scout Stephanie Summers Gold Award ceremony at the Elks. The Girl Scout Gold Award is the highest award in Girl Scouting. Only 5% of Girl Scouts earn that award. She raised funds and arranged work committees to achieve her goal. The final project was buddy bags. The bags in emergency rooms and ambulances for little kids. And my grandson was a recipient of one, and he was having a tough day, and the buddy bag really made the process easier. So thank you very much, Stephanie, and congratulations. More congratulations to Trails End Tap House. August 10th, they had a ribbon cutting with the Greenwood Lake Chamber to celebrate Stacy and Warren's successful new venture. And there will be the annual senior picnic barbecue at the Warwick Town Park, Tuesday, August 22nd at 11 a.m. That ends my report for this month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Trustee Howard, please.
Good evening, everyone. Our Greenwood Lake Beach is doing fine. The weather this year hasn't been as nice as last summer, but everything is still working out fine. No incidents. The place is great shape. I said previously to Ed, our lifeguards and grounds crew are very busy keeping everyone safe. And that's the ultimate goal, keeping everybody safe. Police department wise, we are hiring 3 new part-time police officers to cover our schools, our elementary school. We're upping our personnel power there to 2 officers a day. And these new hires are all experienced people, and looking forward to them joining the police department. Other than that, everything is going pretty good, and that concludes my report at this time.
Thank you very much. Trustee Kellum, please.
Unfortunately, we changed our meeting, so there is a school board meeting tonight, which I am obviously unable to attend, but I will let everyone know what transpired at a later time. I do know that they had canine training, which was supposed to be at the middle school, but it is at the elementary school, with neighboring police departments as well as NYPD was also there. The library, the summer reading program is in full swing. Check out the library website for everything the library has to offer. That ends my report.
Thank you, Kellum. Trustee Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. My report will cover the activity in July. Started with the building department. The building department took in $7,052, highlighted by building permits, short-term annual renewals, and stop work orders. It is the majority of that money that was taken in the month of July. There was no planning board meeting in the month of July. On the agenda, there was a zoning board meeting in the month of July. 3 applicants were before the board. The first two were seeking variances, which were granted, 612 Jersey Avenue and 11 County Route 5. The third applicant is Benjamin Steakhouse. This is their first time before our zoning board. They were seeking 2 variances. They did not have their publications in time, so they weren't officially before the board, but they still presented and also allowed the public, which the meeting was well attended. We had it at the senior center. It allowed the public to interact with Benjamin Steakhouse themselves. The owner was there and his team as well, so that was very helpful for the public. But they are seeking 2 variances. There's nothing to do with planning yet. One is for 3 stories. So in our code, we allow 2.5 stories. The overall height of the building will not exceed our code, but it is the 3 stories they need. And there's also a rear yard variance that they're seeking, is they'll be pulled up right up to the property line in the back. So they'll be back hopefully before the board later this month. But again, many from this board were there, but many from the public that were there, and they would interact and ask questions, dispel rumors that are on social media as well. So that was I think, a benefit for the public at this early stage to have that opportunity. They had their plans there, which were also available in Village Hall, had the plans laid out there. And again, people were able to ask the engineer as well as the owner and the management direct questions about their plans for the restaurant and hotel. It's a 90, if I remember correctly, it's a 90-seat restaurant and 16-room hotel that they're planning to build. So that ends my report.
Thank you very much. Attorney's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I have distributed my report amongst the members of the Board of Trustees. As I essentially always say, my report is largely confidential. However, I'm available to answer any questions or answer any questions from the general public when they have their opinions.
Thank you very much. Clerk's report, please.
Still collecting, any overdue water or any overdue tax payments. Phil, you're gonna have to go back out at the end of August to do water readings. So I will charge off the laptop for you, okay? And then those bills will be going out in September. If anybody needs anything, we are still, notarizing just walk-ins at this moment. Come September, we will be doing, set hours. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Old business, lake management. Tomorrow, Black Lagoon, our new lake management company, will be treating the lake with clipper treatment. That is to kill the two invasive species that are in our lake, the water chestnut and the milfoil. The water chestnut is in the north arm, milfoil is in the west arm by the Fayos. And it is taking over both arms, so we are trying to mediate that the best we can. And they are coming up with a long-term lake management solution. And so that's between the village, our new lake management company, the DEC, and our engineering company will be coming up with long-term lake management and what that's going to look like. So I'll be reporting on that monthly and giving everybody an update on that. Waterstone sidewalk project, that's right out here. That is still going forward. We are not connecting to the first sewer drain, which is out by Windermere. So we're going to start on the other side of their driveway and go from there to the gazebo, and all the sidewalk and drainage will be replaced in that project. So that should be done October-ish, I'm hoping for. I'll let you know more about that. Water plant, Phil was kind enough to explain what's going on there. We have a meeting tomorrow at noon with the engineers, myself and Phil. We're going to go over Phil's questions and my questions, and I'm sure everybody else's questions, like what that's going to look like, water treatment wise going forward. And hopefully we have some answers for me. MS4 mapping grant, looks like we're going to get that grant. We should be one of the top ones to get that grant. That is for stormwater drainage. That is through, I think it's the DEC also. So that'll be mapping the stormwater, like going into the lake, and you know, whether that sewer drain was clean, does it need to be maintained, does it need a filter on it to filter out phosphorus going into the lake that makes the weeds grow even more. So that's going to help us in the long run, and that was something on DEC's list for lake management that they've had for the lake for a long time. So we're going to start checking off things off that list. You know, if we can obviously afford it, you know, we'll start going down that list and take care of those things. New business. We started a conversation in our workshop today about permitting golf carts in the village. What that's going to look like. It seems like everybody's kind of for it. We have to work out some details with it, like, you know, what roads you can actually go on, inspections, registration, like what it looks like to be a street legal golf cart. But we hope that that happens, because we're thinking in the future it will save congestion when we have events like 4th of July, Labor Day celebrations. Maybe people will just take their golf carts down instead of their cars. We can have more parking down there. But we'll see what that looks like. Number 2 on this is expanding the permits for weed harvesting and dredging. Right now we only have permits for the north arm for weed harvesting and dredging. I'm trying to expand that for everything in the village. So if we see weed, we can get it. If we need to dredge, get the muck out, we could do it. It is going in the right direction. DEC is helping us along with that, which is nice. And hopefully by the end of this month we'll have permits to do the whole entire village as far as weed harvesting and dredging. That'll also go for, as far as putting herbicides in the lake too. That'll be part of that too, that we could do everything in the village at once. Grant for back truck. Our other engineer is pursuing a grant for a vacuum truck. That truck will be like a street sweeper, and it'll be able to suck out the drains that I was talking about, so all the drains you see around town, that we'll be able to go and take all the material out of there, hopefully easily. We'll see if we can get that grant, we're trying to get it. Black Lagoon, MHE, and DC long-term lake management plan, I talked about that. That is, we're gonna have a meeting next week, I believe, and we're gonna keep pushing that to come up with a solution for our lake. NPG grant. What's that? Alright, the NPG grant. This is an application for the grant. The grant provides funds to complete an engineering study, in our case, to explore the stormwater retrofit projects in accordance with the New York State DEC and the TMDL. That is the total, what is that? The total phosphorus loading from going into the lake via stormwater runoff. The total grant award would be $50K with a 5% match. So the village would contribute $5,000 match. Looks like we actually get that grant also, so I'm hopeful for that. That will pay for engineering. If we notice there's too much phosphorus going into the lake, the engineer could come up with a plan to retrofit a drain with a filter or something like that, and that will be paying for the engineer fees themselves. So that would be nice to have. HABs, there's been reports that there's HABs in Greenwood Lake on the New York side. That is not true. The only HABs reports that we see on Facebook is in the Jersey end, and they're not actual factual at this moment, but that's the only reports we see. Everything in the village, as far as HABs, is good, and we actually had a report from the health department who came down to the beach. We didn't know they were there, and inspected, and there's no hazards found at all in the water or around the beach. So we passed our inspection, and that was on, what day was that? The 11th, the 8th. So we're good to go with that. Swimming wise, zoning and planning board members. We started this conversation at the workshop. Our plan is to combine planning and zoning into one board, but until we get that to where we need to be, we have to expand our boards, and some people on the planning and zoning board are not showing or attending to the meetings. So we're gonna start moving to replace those people, because there's a lot of stuff coming up with Benjamin Steakhouse and stuff. We need to have these meetings, and we need to have a quorum for these meetings, so we're gonna start that process of replacing those people and adding to those boards until we get to a point where I can combine both boards into one board, and they'll meet twice a month. We're still working on that. Speed limit in Greenwood Park, moving it from 15 miles an hour to 5 miles an hour, down by their beach. Apparently there's speeders in the park, and they're taking out the bushes, so. With the suggestion of the Chief of Police, Adam, we're gonna go from 15 down to 5, and see if that works down there. So hopefully that does. Events, community center, Tuesday 4 to 6, 2nd to 5th grades, 6 to 8 p.m. will be 6th to 8th grade. Farmers market, Saturday mornings, Benwood Stanley Park, that's every Saturday morning, the farmers market is there. Zoning board meeting is Thursday, August 17th at 7:30 p.m. at the senior center. Like Chad said, that'll be, Benjamin's coming back to that, so we expect a big turnout for that. Labor Day fireworks and concert, I talked about that, that's September 2nd, that's at Thomas Moran Waterfront Park. What time's the band's gonna start, 7? The band?
7:30?
I think we're starting them early, right?
7?
Yeah, okay, for 7.
Yeah, we're gonna try to start them early so they finish at 9:30 and it flows
Go right into
smoothly into the fireworks. Planning board meeting is Thursday, September 7th at 7:30 p.m. at Village Hall. Greenwood Lake Skate Park 5K run is on September 10th. That is a Sunday. And now I'm going to open the meeting to the privilege of the floor. Would anybody like to address the board and talk?
You want my name?
To state your name and your address, please.
Jim Clifford, 27 Main Drive, Greenwood Lake. I just wanted to address the board and to thank some of the people who showed up. I thought I was gonna have a different conversation, but I'm just gonna talk about the elephant in the room. The last couple of meetings, I guess, the board has been subjected to a request to put a resolution together. And with the ultimate objective, it's no secret, that they want to decertify the 2020 election, at least in New York State. And I'm sure that that's just the thin end of the wedge. What it illustrates to us is that our system is fragile. It's fragile from attack from within as well as from without. I got involved with the election process after the 2020 election because I wanted to see it for myself. And when I took the training and went through the first election, I saw that it was completely bipartisan and it was completely up above board and without error. And so therefore, my discussion tonight was going to be to the people that were going to show up, that I apparently have not shown up, I don't think, that we need to reject their premise, okay? And so, you know, I'm not going to take up any more time, but I did want to thank the people that had shown up, because we want to show the board that we are behind them, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to close the floor?
Hi, do you want my name?
I need your name and address. If you can come up just so we can get, since the microphones and stuff aren't working. I know, I'm sorry.
Jean Marin.
Can you spell your last name for me?
M-A-R-R-O-N.
M-A-R-R-O-N?
Yeah, 5 Brookport.
Jean, G-E-A-N?
J-E-A-N-N-E.
J?
E-A-N-N-E.
Okay, like G-N.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was your?
Parents,
No, that's fine. What is your address again, please?
5 Brookport.
5 Brookport. Thank you so much.
This is my first time here, and I actually came out of concern of what I had heard about what Jim just addressed the last meeting. But in anticipation of coming, I went on the website, the village website, to try to find out, like, what are the rules of being here, who can speak, how long, those kind of things, and I didn't find them available. So my question is, how do I get to see those? The ordinances and things for the village, like, I don't know, as someone living here, what's allowed and not allowed. And I couldn't find that.
Like our code for the village?
I guess that's what, I'm sorry, I moved from New Jersey, so I'm probably using terms from there.
So like if you wanted to see any type of code, you can do like a Google search for Village of Greenwood Lake E-code.
E-code?
Yep.
And are there rules and things in
For
like here?
This
For
is.
public meeting, it's Robert's rules, we're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that our discretion?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like, so say if we have a lot of people, and they're speaking for a long amount of time, we as a board have the discretion to limit them to 3 minutes if we want to. We have not imposed that yet. We don't plan on imposing it yet, we hope, but we'll say going forward. To me and the board, like, if you can get up and speak, it's a lot of pressure, we'd like to hear what you have to say without cutting you off.
Thank you.
So the only thing that you have to do as far as you have to state your name and state where you live, that's what NICOM asks and requests that anybody that comes up and speak does. Because it has to be
Like
recorded.
trail, like it's mixed up with trail.
You got it.
The mayor, I would also add to that customarily, although we've not done so in a very long time, when there are times when so many people want to speak, we give priority to the residents of Greenwood Lake, then the residents of York before other
The residents of the village.
Yeah, residents of the village of Greenwood Lake, and then after those of the town of Warwick. And we simply do that because at times, although it hasn't happened in years, you can have so many people, and we really can't go past 10, 11 o'clock at night. So that sometimes because of time restraints, have to prioritize who speaks. Although, I don't think we've done that
It's been a long time.
12 years or so.
It's been a long time.
Thank you.
But we reserve those rights when
I
necessary.
mean, everybody has the right to stand up and say what they want to say.
On down.
Richard Tootin, 6810 I complaint of paving our road.
It's not done yet.
Taste it.
They're promising.
Time out. Can you spell your last name for me?
T-U-T-E-N.
T-U-T-E-N.
Yes.
And what was your address again?
68 Tenai.
Thank you.
Write it down, it's next door to Dunkin'.
Okay.
I had some procedural questions relating to the resolutions that Jim was talking about. Number one, is there a limitation on residency requirements for introducing a resolution before the board?
Resolutions before the board are introduced by board members.
So citizens cannot propose
You could
resolutions.
propose it, and we could,
Is there a
we could
limitation on
adopt
the
it,
proposal?
but we,
So we have a resolution, a second, and the board votes.
And-
So you may suggest an idea that the board can act upon.
Is there a limitation on who can suggest?
No, anybody could make a suggestion to the board.
Is there a requirement that recommended language be vetted by you as the village attorney?
As far as suggesting an idea, anyone could suggest any idea.
Veracity of proposed language in a resolution.
Okay, anyone could bring any idea to the members of the village board. As far as the language of a resolution, when one of the trustees writes a resolution, we see it in the workshop. So if in the workshop I see a problem with the resolution, we typically correct it then. But
What is the publication requirement?
Could you speak
prior to-
louder?
What is the publication requirement prior to it being considered by the board?
there is none. Now, for specific resolutions, for example, if we're going to change the village code, that requires a public hearing, that requires us to send the proposed language to the zoning board of appeals, to the planning board. But other than a resolution where we're going to modify village code, for example, the majority of our resolutions tonight involve funding issues.
I'm just saying, but if I propose a resolution to trustee Howard that the village board sign off on a resolution agreeing that the earth is flat, would you be required to verify the truthfulness of the assertions that I'm making in that proposal?
No, we wouldn't be required to, I think we would simply ignore it.
That's good to know.
Because
That's what I ignore it. That's it, thank you.
Anyone is free to propose any idea to the board. There is no requirement that we consider.
anybody else? Would you like to address the board? Come on up.
Hi, I'm Jill Weltman.
Can you spell your name for me, please?
W-E-L-T-M-A-N.
Where do you live?
It's 4 Linden.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
What was your first name?
Jill.
Jill, J-A-L. Thank you.
I did the logo.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of the artists in town.
Oh, nice, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I had a question about the weeds in the lake.
Yeah.
All right, I live in the east arm. Is there any hope for having the weeds taken care of in the east arm?
Yes, that's all part of it. But everything in the village is being treated tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
So you will see them around your docks, so don't shoot them or anything. Yeah,
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
be spraying around your docks, so.
Yeah.
They have orders to go into the fingers around residential docks, the marinas, if they see weeds, to go get them.
Okay.
That's for the herbicides tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's
All right.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah, so I thought it was
We don't
just
have a
on the-
permit yet for the weed harvester for that part of the lake yet. That's why it hasn't been in.
All right, great, thank you so much.
Yeah, trying now.
All
Anybody
right.
else? Yeah.
My name is Vera Miller. I'm at 72 Shore Avenue in Greenwood Lake.
Can I have spelling of your name, please?
Excuse me, Vera, V as in Victor, E-R-A.
Okay, and your last name?
Miller.
M-I-L-L-E-R?
You bet.
All right, thank you.
I also want to let the Board of Trustees know that I support a thoughtful consideration of the resolution that has been such a big deal over the last several weeks. My concern is that there does not appear to be a policy that exists to handle issues that might be, I don't know, controversial, that are brought up in public comment. And I wonder if it might not be a good idea to at least discuss a set of policies that would apply to public comment, so that people aren't scurrying around every time some issue happens to show its face. What I was thinking of is, I don't know what the requirements of the First Amendment obligate boards such as this to do, but it seems to me that it makes sense in advance of any issues to determine what is and what is not reasonable, so that the board can either limit discussion or allow discussion or make decisions based on whether people are in fact residents of Greenwood Lake, whether the board in fact has standing to take a position such as what's being proposed, and also in terms of just how much the board wants to use in terms of resources to be vetting all of these positions that might in fact come up. And I just basically wanted to say that I think that it might make sense to have the discussion before the fact and have at least the thoughts of what an appropriate policy would be before any other controversial issues may raise their heads. That's it.
So, I mean, that sounds to me like shutting people down if you
Yeah,
don't,
yes,
if you don't
so
agree
let
with
me
what they
address
say.
that. It has always been the position of the Board of Trustees. It is, I'll speak up more loudly, let me come out from the corner. It has always been the position of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Greenwood Lake to promote free speech. Everyone is free to stand up and state their views, bring stuff to our attention. However absurd the rest of us might think it is, you're free to stand up and do so. We will never adopt any policy where we're going to limit your ability to speak in public based on the content. There will be no pre-screening. To the extent that we have available time, people can stand up and speak. If the members of the Board of Trustees or the mayor feel that their time is being wasted, they're free to, when they have the time, simply suggest to the people, okay, we've listened adequate time, you've had your opportunity, please move along. We have other business to do. But we will never in any way limit free speech based on the topic, the content of the speech, whether it be offensive or controversial, whatever. I said before, I don't mean to offend anyone who believes the world is flat. If you want to stand up and say the world is flat, you're free to do so for a reasonable period of time, and we're free to ignore you. But we will never limit free speech based on content or anticipated content. To do so would violate one of the most fundamental principles of our government, that of free speech. So do we need a policy to limit free speech? I suggest no. And to have such a policy, I think, would inherently limit free speech. I think the mayor supports his comments. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not hoping that a policy would limit free speech. I am in fact equally as in favor of free speech regardless of its nature. However, I was wondering if a limitation of time, place, it's just basically a framework within which people can address the board that gives the board some foundation to take a position before it becomes a controversial issue. In other words, how many people can speak in one evening? Or, as you do, prioritize people who are in fact residents of the town so that business is conducted beforehand and other people can, let's say, maybe leave or decide that they don't want to be here for 8 hours before they can do their own business. I may not
Our
be
business is all conducted before anyone else is allowed to speak.
Again, thank you very much. I may not be familiar with your process. When I ask, are there policies, I mean, do you have a basis by which you can make a decision based on a specific policy that everyone understands? Whether it's a sign up in advance, whether it's a total of 3 hours of public comment. There are lots of different ways to handle it.
We've never seen the need for it.
First of all, this is the most people that have been here because obviously somebody has an issue. Do you know what I mean? We never have this many people at a meeting. I would love to see all of you people come back next month. Come back next month.
Yeah, we will.
We've had
And listen to everything that we do all
no
the
need
whole
for
time.
such policy.
No, we truly appreciate your stand on free speech.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, everybody's here tonight because everyone was afraid of what those other people were saying, so this is, and I understand, like, you're getting your point across. Heard it, hear it. But you know what, next month, when those people and these people, there's no conflict, it's gonna be Phil and our police officer and Ed, and that's who it's gonna be in the audience. Come every month and find out what's going on and where you live.
Sir?
Richard Tunian. If we're going to ignore what the flat earthers say, what are we basing that ignoring on? Do we have a set of criteria for why we ignore something? If it's demonstrably false, is that a reason to ignore what they're saying, the flat earthers?
People are free to make suggestions to the village board. There's no requirement that the village board act on them or entertain them, do further research into it.
Okay, but is there any criteria around where we say we're not gonna act on this, we are gonna act on that? It's just
There's no state
whatever you feel.
legislature about that either. Like when it comes to meetings and stuff like that, if you looked it up, there's nothing on NICOM that states anything like that or anything under the state on how we have to proceed with meetings. There's no guidance on
The
that.
agenda is set by
The
the
board can
mayor.
set your own,
Yes, it's in the
criteria.
mayor's discretion.
right.
The mayor determines what is old business, what is new business, what we're going to act on.
I haven't had a chance to go through the E-code updates, so I'm not familiar with where we are right now with that. That's why I'm asking these
You'll
questions.
find very little. It's in the discretion of the mayor.
Yeah, then that first section really has nothing. So, all right, thank you.
But that's what the E-code's not gonna have like how meetings are done. That comes down from the state and from NICOM to us on how meetings, and most of it is just Robert's rules is what they say on how to proceed with
There's
a
gonna
meeting.
be
That's what
requirements
they tell us.
There'll be requirements on notice. We have to announce our board meetings. We're going to conduct business ahead of time. They're scheduled, they're advertised to the public. In addition, although we didn't do such a great job tonight, we typically have them on Facebook so people can remotely follow them. So we have requirements for notice. We have requirements for an agenda. So we follow all state requirements. We utilize Robert's Rules of Order, so we have good order and function at our meetings. It seems to me people are concerned that someone's gonna make a proposal, and we in some way have to act on it. And you're asking about what would be the criteria to, there is no criteria because there's no necessity for us to act. You know, for example, someone suggested to someone on the village board, I don't know who, we should consider golf carts and making greater use of golf carts. there's no criteria as to evaluating that suggestion. We simply evaluate the suggestion on its merits. So earlier tonight at the workshop, we started discussion as to what vehicles fall within the penumbra of golf cart. What are the insurance requirements? What are the operating requirements as far as licensing? In the past, we've had suggestions as to sidewalks. Well, then we looked into grants on how to pay for sidewalks, how to go about getting sidewalks. There have been a great many suggestions that we thought were silly, unaffordable, and no action was taken on them. So it's not that we need a criteria score to ignore. It's up to the mayor and the board of trustees in their discretion to act upon the business which they think best suits the interest of the residents of our village. So again, we welcome free speech. We're thrilled to see so many people here. We're saddened that it's so rare that we see so many people here. I encourage you to attend more board meetings. And to the extent that our practices seem somewhat arbitrary, I suggest that's because you've attended so few board meetings. Respectfully suggest. Are there any further questions?
On that or anything else?
I do have a suggestion on the golf cart. The city of Vero Beach, Florida, just last year updated their policies and addressed all of the things that you talked about during the workshop. So just to, I know you were going to look at a lot of other.
That won't be.
Anybody else?
Lisa Milano, I live on 14 Murray Road.
M-I-L-A-N already.
Yes. So I do attend the meetings pretty regularly, and I just kind of want to be a little bit on the defensive for the newcomers here on faces, and say that I am part of that group that is here also because of that particular group that was here last week, or last month rather. And I think these people are here also because they want to defend more of like the regularity that we had going on at these meetings, and that group that was coming in felt disruptive to that. It felt very partisan, where this group doesn't tend to be that way. We are very bipartisan, in my opinion. You can express, different values in this town, and I really appreciate that. We kind of all more are like focused on the lake, the quality of life, the environment. Like, these are core issues that we have, and not the issues that group introduced last week. So that's, I'm not very public speaking, so I'm a little anxious, but
they have every right to come here.
But we have a right to also defend our standing.
We haven't limited anyone.
Yeah. So, but we felt like if they were going to come with a coalition, so should we.
Okay.
So that's all I want to
Okay.
So
I'm happy to see all these people here are all from Greenwood Lake in the village. Those people weren't even from here.
Exactly.
And they took the time out of their night to stand up for what they believed in.
Yes.
And come, I'm happy that you're all here and you live in the lake, and you're here at a meeting.
So
Lisa's participating in veterans.
get a team together.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
But aside from that, I would also just, something that I've been thinking about is the crosswalks in town seem like much more of like a vague suggestion and not people actually stopping when they see somebody waiting. And if people are actually going to stand at a crosswalk to wait to cross the street, I do feel like there should be a little bit more effort on the part of like motorists to actually stop for them. And maybe some more like signage or lights, or maybe like reflective tape on stop signs, or lines at the stop signs even. Like, I live in Windermere Park, and there's not lines on the roads and stop signs. It just seems like people just roll right through them. So I think that's, just.
We're working with DOT with that. Most of those roads you're talking about are DOT roads. It's hard to get them to do something.
Like in Warwick, people really do stop. Like, they stop at every, like, when they see somebody even like edging on that crosswalk, they stop. But in this town, it's like, especially if now there's going to be golf carts involved, who knows who's going to really be driving these things. Like, I've got no problem with the golf carts, but people are kind of just like cruising through town. Maybe they're extra young drivers. I don't know if we're going to say 16 even. I don't know, but I don't.
We've also had on Windermere Avenue in the center line you know, the vertical sign, you know, yield to people in crosswalk.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they get banged up a lot and they have to get replaced. But what I also noticed too, if people are gonna enter the court, sometimes you'll see people on a sidewalk talking to one another,
Yeah.
and now you're coming down the road, are they crossing, are they not crossing? So, so it does work both ways, and they should be making a distinctive, here I
Well, I
am.
don't,
You know, you know,
for
so-
me,
so it does go both
for my own
ways, you
personal
know.
experience, I do walk in town, I
Yes.
bike in town, I live right in the village, right, so
But those
I
middle-
do walk more, and people definitely, I would say, half the time stop, when I'm definitely there.
Those center
Everybody's
barriers
crossed.
do help, but like I said, they did get beat up, and I think the mayor was working on getting additional ones. Because that, for the motorists, that, you can see that in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, that's right, you know, so a lot of people do forget, but,
Okay.
point well taken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Anybody?
No? All right, moving on. Approval to pay all audited bills.
I'll make a motion.
Motion Kelly, second Tom. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, I want to point out that's an example of how we deal with these motions to conduct those business.
Absolutely. Thank you. Approval of minutes from the July 17th, 2023 meeting. Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Nancy?
from the July 17th meeting.
Second? One second?
I'll second.
Chad, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. There is no executive session tonight. We're going into resolutions. Resolution number 8 authorizes the hiring of the following part-time police officers: Salvador Gerardina, Lawrence Finnerty, and Jason Sarnicki. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
I will second that
Second,
motion.
Kelly. Any
Hold on,
discussion?
time. Hallie,
Cal.
Cal, go.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 9 authorizes the pay increase of part-time police officer Richard Brennan from $28.15 to $31.52 per hour. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Tom, second.
Second?
Second.
Nancy, any discussion?
Who is it, Nancy or Bill?
Kelly got it first.
All right, Cal.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 10 authorizes the hiring of Kylene Riley as a new part-time senior citizen to activity leader at the rate of $18 per hour.
I will make that motion.
Kelly,
I'll second
second.
it.
Cal,
Nancy,
Clifford,
any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 11 authorizes the hiring of Danielle Mulqueen as a full-time employee as secretary to the planning board at the rate of $20 per hour. Can I get a motion, please?
I will make that motion.
Celia, Hallie,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 12 authorizes the purchase of new dive equipment for the police department in the amount of $22,218. Can I get a motion, please?
Hallie,
Second.
Cal.
Any discussion? Want to talk about the dive shoot at all?
He's talking to you, Dawn.
For anybody that doesn't know, we do have a dive team in the village of Greenwood Lake along with our Marine unit. There's 4 of us on the dive team that can be activated at any time to respond to an incident. As many people don't know, there's parts of our lakes that are 70 feet deep. So there's a thermocline at about 20 feet. So you go down in the water, you're swimming around the weekend, it may feel warm. Once you get below 20 feet, it's freezing. So we have these dry suits, and even in the summer, if you go down below 20 feet, you start getting cold and start plunging up on you. The equipment that we have now is leaking at the seams, water's getting in, and God forbid we're down there for more 5-10 minutes, we're taking on water. You're searching for somebody who takes more than 5 or 10 minutes. So it's very essential that we get this equipment, and it'll benefit the village and everybody in it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion, please? We got that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 13 authorizes the mayor to sign contract with Garden State Fireworks for the Labor Day fireworks show in the amount of $15,000. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second? Second?
I'll second it.
Lillian?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? None? Motion carries. So resolution 14, this is gonna be? Authorizes the appointment of Jennifer Lyons Hall to the planning board as a planning board alternate. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Kelly, second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? That was to fill we have 2 alternates, we only had 1 there, so that's to fill the alternate spot.
Jennifer Lyons?
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion, budget transfers and amendments? Motion, please. Anyone have it?
Nope.
No? Okay. All right, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting.
Before we adjourn, just looking at the next meeting, and there's a bunch of times there,
Those are for public hearings.
those are accurate.
Yeah. We have a lot of public. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion on adjournment? All in favor?